Welcome to another episode of the Up Your Confidence podcast. It's a destination podcast for female listeners seeking to build their confidence and maximize their leadership. Today, I am excited for another episode. We are going to dive into a topic that is super crucial for success and well-being, which is really building boundary. We are not a stranger about talking building boundary on this podcast. A couple of years ago, we actually talked about building boundary, but I think it was really surface like kind of information. So I want us to come back and dive into a little bit more how we can build a better boundary in 2025. Okay, so setting boundary is not about being rigid or unapproachable. It's about protecting your time, energy, and your mental health so you can thrive. That is really what building boundary is about. So in this episode, I'm going to share my personal journey with building boundary, setting it, and how it has transformed really my life. Okay, so we will explore different area where building boundary matter, such as focus, business, relationship, personal space, finance, and even spirituality, while giving you practical strategy to implement them right away. So let's get into it. So, practical way to create boundary. Number one, we focus. On focus is really how we determine our success, but there's distraction everywhere. If you are not super intentional about what you want to do, you will be easily distracted. That's why first of all I had a program called Focus to Mastery. I still have it. It has been super successful in the past, and I'm revamping it for 2025 and other years to come, and really focus in on confidence building as part of it. But for the longest time, I had this program called Focus to Mastery because I felt like the best way to get to success, is not only confidence as we're talking about on this podcast, but is also when you get into action, you gotta be focused. When you are not focused on what you are doing, you're not gonna make it. So, and it started with your routine. You gotta own your routine. If you don't own a routine, your day is gonna own you pretty much. You ever wake up one day? This literally happened to me this week. Have you ever woke up one day and you are solving other problem than the problem that you planned the day before? Well, let me backtrack. I usually, before I go to bed at night, see what kind of problem, not kind of problem, what kind of things I'm gonna attack tomorrow, what kind of challenge, what kind of opportunity am I gonna work on tomorrow, just being a good planner. So I write them down. First of all, I do my mini retrospective self-reflection of the day. What have I done, and what can I do better, and then I plan my day, especially if it's a busy day that I have ahead. And I do the same thing on a weekly basis every Sunday. So you can plan your day like literally in a certain way. You wake up and you just receive one text message, which is what happened to me. I received one text message and it just put my day in a tailspin, and I couldn't recognize, my gardener from my security guy. I couldn't even recognize, I If you know anything about me, you know that I'm a knowledge broker. I mean, every time I find something that is good and working for me, I cannot wait to share it. And that's the case with Black Girl Vitamin. I have been dealing with a lot of personal health since 2 months ago, and I'm lacking my vitamin D. My cholesterol is high. My sleep is not well. So some of my joints are hurting me, and just I need my skin to look beautiful. And I have been taking some pills here and there. Then I stumbled upon Black Vitamin after I came back from one of my women conference.
Then I love it. I order my pack. Within a week, I could see the difference. I could see my energy. I could see the glow. So I really want to tell you, get into Black Vitamin. I'm getting my vitamin D from them. I'm getting my collagen from them. I'm getting my cholesterol from them. I'm getting my CMO from them for energy and to boost my immune system. I could not be any happier. And again, woman owned, Black brand. That's what we love on the Up Your Confidence podcast. So get into it. Use the link below here and get into Black Girl Vitamin. It's going to change your game. It's going to make you happy. It's going to make you glow. Thank you.
Forgot to even pick up my makeup to do a makeup while I was gonna be on camera. So just to tell you that having your routine is super important, and following your routine is also how you master the game. So if you don't master your routine, you are not going to master your game. So I set, for instance, a routine of things that I want to do. I usually sleep around the same time and I wake up around the same time. I'm really great and very diligent about using structure. Having structure is very important for me. I turn off, for instance, my phone and Wi-Fi during deep work session to eliminate distraction. And this is something that I teach in my Focus to Mastery program. If you really want to work on something that is crucial and important for you, I leave my phone in another room if I don't want to turn it off. And if I really, really, really want to be focused, I turn on my Wi-Fi. I've done that several times. I prioritize quiet moment for deep thinking and reflection. So if you don't carve out time for thought, who will? And in this economy, in this distraction focused world, everybody's afraid of being alone. Another thing that I do when I'm in a country where I'm driven, so I have a car, somebody's driving me, I don't even drive anymore because I realize that if I'm driving, I'm actually going to be super distracted. I'm going to be distracted. I won't have time for focus, right? So I choose intentionally not to drive. That way, when I'm in the back of the car, I am using that time to just doing some regular thinking. And that is really a game changer because sometimes you have some long drive that you have to do. Sometimes you have an hour drive, sometimes you have 45-minute drive. There's so much you can be doing within that hour. Okay. With my business, um, working entrepreneur come with demand that can drain you if you are not careful. So here is what I usually do. I remind myself of other people urgency is not my urgency. And this is something that I have done quite a lot when I was in corporate, because my role has always been a supporting role, supporting of the engineer, supporting of my team, supporting of leadership, supporting of program manager, so I can literally be supporting 7 different roles, 7 different stream of work. At some point I was supporting 15 different projects. Okay, so if you are that person, people are coming to you every day asking for something. And sometimes what I used to say is, your emergency is not my emergency until you make your emergency my emergency. So your job is to come, not to tell me that, oh my God, this place is going on fire. Nah, not my problem. This place is going on fire, then it's gonna impact something that is part of my urgency of the day. Then that's when I react, because if you don't do that, you're gonna find yourself in a situation that they call it the monkey bear. And what that means is and this is especially for leaders and manager and executive, right? If you don't make it and you are not making decisions super quickly and you are not empowering your team to make a decision, what's gonna happen is quickly they're gonna come to you, and instead of solving their problem, they're gonna come to you and ask you to solve their problem for them. And then you're gonna find yourself solving everybody's problem except your own, because you also have a list of things that you need to cover, right? But you're gonna find yourself solving everybody problem except your own problem, and that is not fun to do. So Make sure that other urgency is not your urgency. Have a clear process on prioritizing tasks so you don't get pulled into unnecessary chaos. Also, delegating. Another trick that I'm using lately is making decision fast, because we waste a lot of time in our decision making. And I was literally talking to a customer the other day. He was telling me how people waste so much time making decision. The same way you have a customer that you tell them a solution and they're like, yeah, sign me up. You have another customer that will be dragging you throughout the whole process, and you gotta be, as a business owner, you gotta be strong and just say, you know what, it's taking you way too long. Take your time and decide. And it takes a lot of confidence. That's what we're talking about on this podcast. It takes a lot of confidence to be able to do that, because you have to realize that you are working with people that are not decisive. And if you are somebody that is super decisive, it will be very difficult for you to work with those kind of people right away. So it come back to what we say: find your tribe. So if you are not able to just get those people that can quickly make decision, and they take so long to make decision, because at the end of the day, what is the decision? Every decision that you make has a risk. It's just have to be that you need to decide how much risk are you willing to take based on the thing that you just heard. So somebody make a pitch to you about something, you should be able to quickly realize that I love this, makes sense to me, I want to move forward, and here are the risk, and here are the positive risk, meaning, oh, if this works in the right direction, this is going to be mind-blowing, right? So positive risk. And negative risk, meaning like, oh shoot, if this doesn't work, we are in trouble. So those are my 5 way I quickly make a decision. I'm like, and so now if the positive is lower than the negative, then I'm not going to decide. But you have to have a framework. Maybe I should teach this framework on this podcast and help with decision making, because I feel like, and this is something that I have been practicing this year a lot, because leaders are the one that make decision fast. Leaders are the one that quickly executor on the idea. Leaders are the one that quickly move on from failure also. So if you are able to quickly execute, quickly make a decision, and quickly move from failure, you are moving at a pace that regular folks are not even dreaming about. Because the worst thing you should do is somebody pitch something to you and you want to say, well, let me talk to my team. Let me think about it. And 99% of the time you are not thinking about it. 99% of the time you just don't want to think about it. Actually, that's what it is. So you have to create and protect your intellectual contribution, when you are working with people, so that they don't just, blame you or undervalue your input. And that usually happen in corporate and workspaces, right? So you have to protect your intellectual contribution. You have to own your intellectual contribution. You have to value yourself to a point where, when you say something and you are very sure and assertive and bold and confident, as we call it on this podcast, ABC Women, when you say something that you are pretty sure of and somebody else is not, and somebody else is actually just boldly say, no, I think that's wrong, you have to realize that it's not about them. It's not about you, it's actually about them. It's not about you, it's actually about them. And when you go with that framework, it makes it super easy to move on. Okay? Because it's not what other people think, it's actually what you think that's really going to help you in your confidence journey. Now let's talk about how do you build a boundary with relationship. Oh my god, we are going to dive into relationship deeper this year. Actually, it's going to be our next episode. Right after this episode, the next episode that I'm going to tape is really going to be about relationship, because I think we got to do something about relationship, and really talk about how do you own your value, how do you own your worth in relationship. Not all relationships are created equal, obviously, right? Understanding this has helped build stronger emotional boundary. And this is where I feel like there's level to it. Because I went back and listened to a previous podcast just to make sure that, I'm not repeating the same content, the same thing over the years. And I was like, Lisette, the first time you talk about boundary, that was your introduction to boundary, actually sharing. But since then, I got even better, at protecting my boundary and setting my boundary and actually allowing people not to cross my boundary. So I was like, I think there's level to this. So next time I'm going to talk about it on the podcast, I'm going to share the level to it. I don't think in every area there's a level, but I think definitely on the relationship side there's level to it, and there's at least three level. The first level is I used to engage with everyone without assessing reciprocity, meaning, and I'm sure most of us are there. Like, okay, somebody say meet with friend, we just communicating, and it doesn't matter. Even if I'm the kind of person I like to celebrate people. I like to celebrate women, especially if I see that a woman is doing something great, and I'm actually recording this on a Women International Day. So whenever a woman is doing something, you're gonna see me always celebrating her. That's just my natural. I don't need to know you personally. I don't need to ask who you are. I don't need to know what you do or who you are. I'm gonna celebrate you regardless, because I just feel like we are coming from the same humanity. We are same tribe. At least that's my thought. I will celebrate you without reciprocity. Even if we're a friend too, I will celebrate you without reciprocity. I will share and post your stuff. I will congratulate you on your achievement, regardless of what it is. So that's the level one. Very basic, very appreciative, very forthcoming, very uh I want to say very naive too. Very naive. I'll use that word. Very naive, which is fine. Naivete is part. It's a part for the cause. And level two is I became aware of the one side relationship. I think when you stay in level one for so long, then you start seeing pattern, and I'm great at seeing pattern. That's just what I do. I have been in several industry where my goal is to recognize pattern and see how things are going well and not going well, and draw people attention to it. So I see pattern easily. That is just, I have eyes for detail, and I just see pattern. That's what it is. So because I see pattern, I became aware of one side relationship. You know, I became aware of relationship where you are in, and you can tell the person that, let's say, I don't like red. Or, I'm gonna give a good example. Let's say a couple of years ago, I was part of a Toastmaster group. I was one of the leader in Toastmaster for my area. I think I was an area governor or something. And because of that, you have to organize a lot of events. You have to organize contests. You have to organize a lot of events. Like literally every Saturday or every other Saturday, there's something going on that you have to attend. And being one of the leader for the area, I had to do a contest. So I picked somebody as my assistant, which was this wonderful lady. And so we organized the event, doing great. And when you organize the event, you have to invite other leader in the community. And as part of that, we also have to have food involved. So I remember when we were planning, one of the leader from another Toastmaster group, she told me, Kennedy, Lisette, because we're talking about, we'll bring fruit platter, we bring different fruit and everything, and we're taking notes because we have to have a budget so they can pay for it. So she told me quietly, she said, oh, Lisette, I don't do pineapple at all, and I was like, okay, you don't do pineapple. Okay, makes sense. But for me, I was just like, okay, we're gonna have several things. Even if you don't do pineapple, we're not gonna, the party is not about you. At least that's what I thought. So then I heard it, but I didn't really, appreciate it or really take it into the importance of what she was telling me, right? Because I have to give myself a benefit of the doubt, because was my first time really hearing somebody telling me that I don't like something specific related to food, So fast forward to the day of the event. So they're helping me. She's part of the helping community. So I call her when I was downstairs and I say, "Oh, I have the food here. Come get it." And she actually was one of the first person that came to help me with my assistant area governor. And when she saw the fruit platter, and you can see this fruit platter has different fruit, right? Strawberry, kiwi, pineapple, and but there's a section. So as soon as she carry it, and either she smell it or she smell it, she was like, "Oh my God, you got pineapple!" And I was like, "Yeah, the full platter that they sell, at, I'm not gonna say the name of the company, has pineapple." She's like, I don't do pineapple, and I can't even be in a room where there's pineapple." I was like, "Oh wow, you can't even be in a room?" I thought it was just you're not gonna eat it, but she's like, "No, no, no." And then the next thing she did is when I realized that this was serious. So she was like, "I will pay you to trash this whole platter that you got, and then I'm gonna go buy another one for you that does not have pineapple. Is that okay with you?" And I say yes, because I realized that I have crossed her boundary. I say yes because I realized that, maybe the first time I didn't understand her boundary, but now she's really actively showing me, and that's the thing with, with boundary. You can have your boundary, but when somebody want to cross it, you have to tell them that you are crossing my boundary, you have to tell them. And I personally have not been really good at that. I usually just either shut down or shut out the person. It's usually 1 or 0 for me. I usually be like, okay, this person don't get it, but I'm getting better at it about voicing, what is my boundary, because sometimes boundary is almost like a warning sign on the street. It's almost like when you're driving and they say this is a one-way street. So there's the red one that say don't cross here, right? So if there's a one-way street and they say don't go through in that direction, and you see those a lot in downtown area, right, or in small city where there's small road and stuff like that. You see those a lot in Europe, and they will say this street is not two-way, so you cannot go in the other direction. But so boundary are like that. You see the sign, but if you decide to cross the sign, then for me, I feel like you are being, really malicious, pretty much, or you are really testing the person and see. So some people are naturally not able to respect your boundary, and that's what happened because that colleague, I want to call it colleague, told me, but I was really being naive or dumb or not even being able to, assimilate what she was telling me, or at least I didn't feel like it was super important, because I didn't understand that this was a serious thing that mattered to her. So in a relationship, you have to pay attention to when somebody say this is something that I don't like. This is something that I don't want to do, and then somebody continue to bring it back. You have to be really be willing. They have to be willing to take the consequence. Now it depends on how you want to deal with it. Do you want to deal with it in a very vocal and communicating manner? That's also depend on your style, because you might not have the energy anymore. And we're going to talk about energy boundary as well. You might not have the energy anymore to even want to engage about it, because sometimes some people just cross your boundaries so many time, and you no longer even want to engage with them, right? So you have to pay attention to that. So the key here is to recognize the pattern and disengage whenever necessary to maintain your peace, right? So now for me, we are now in level 3. Level 3 is I recognize the pattern, okay? I disengage when necessary to maintain my peace. Because at the end of the day, my peace is my priority. My peace is primordial for me. My peace is my purpose, really. So if somebody does not realize that my peace is my purpose, then you cannot be in the space with me. You cannot be in fellowship with me. You cannot have the privilege to enjoy the space that I'm creating here. That is really what it is at the end of the day. Because sometimes, just like I gave the pineapple example, right? I thought, it was just pineapple. What's the big deal? but it's not a big deal for the person that pineapple is a problem. For her, a pineapple is a deadly weapon, right? So it's the same thing. Never take other people boundary as minimalize it, because this could be a deadly thing for that person. It's the same if somebody tell you, okay, I don't like to talk after 5 p.m. on the phone, or I don't talk when I'm in my house, which is something that I practice. I will rarely pick up the phone in my home when I'm with my kid or even my family. In my home, 99% of the time, if I'm talking to somebody, it has to be another family member or a close family member that I'm talking to. That's it. That's it. Otherwise, I carve out time to talk to my friends or family, either during my commute when I'm driving, or a specific time on the weekend where I just go on a site somewhere and I have a deep conversation with somebody. But I am not a talkative person, especially when I'm in my home, because I feel like my home is a sanctuary. And we're gonna talk about also your boundary into your personal space, right? So for me, my home is my sanctuary. So when I enter my home, I don't talk on the phone. I don't, because I'm raising my kids and I don't want them to be involved in all the unnecessary conversation that I'm going to be having with somebody. If it's not something that is pointed and very direct and very engaged and quick and intentional, I don't do it. I don't spend time in having like long conversation. So here I am saying not talking on the phone is my boundary. But then somebody knows that and they continue to call and call and call and call and get mad when they call you and you don't pick up. And it's like, now you are acting like you are minimalizing my boundary. You are acting like my boundary is not a big deal. It's just a little thing. And what is the big deal? And people do that a lot, and you have to bring them back. So another thing that I do now is I also mirror people energy and effort. Okay, and that is like the next big level. If you graduate to that level, you will be in the major league one. So no more overextending myself for those who don't do the same to me. And this require a lot of mental mental fortitude. It require a lot of confidence in yourself. You require a lot of recognition of pattern, meaning like you are always overstanding for other people, but they never do the same to you. So you need to see that and take action yourself. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with also seeing it and saying, okay, that's fine. I'm a people pleaser. I'm somebody that just want to do good in the world, and I don't care if I don't get it back. But sometimes that's also a way to create boundary, and focus your energy where you feel like there's reciprocity. Let's talk about building a boundary with your personal space, as I was mentioning, right? So your home and workplace are very sacred place, in my opinion. Like right now, I'm in my home office in my home country, right? This is a sacred place. Nobody enter here unless we have a meeting and we want to talk about something serious. Okay, so here you how I maintain control. I'm very selective about who enter my home. Yes, that's very important, and that has always been the case for me in wherever country where I live. My home is not a place where people just go in and out. It doesn't work that way. If you are coming to my home, that means you are probably at the highest level of consideration that I have for you. Because this is not, first of all, I intentionally pick where I live so that people are just not driving by and say, oh, let me just stop by. Like if you literally come to my house, it's because you know first that I live there, and you went out of your way to come meet me and come visit me. So it starts with that intentionality in mind. I define expectation for communication, right? So level one, there's also level in this one, and this one is super important and great, because this especially in this communication world that we are in now, where people just text you immediately and they're expecting response, right? So level one is people that are like, oh, that when they text you quickly, you respond, or apologizing for the delay of responding. That's really a level one kind of like boundary that you have. Level two is probably maybe you use tool like schedule message to delay response. So I used to be at level two most of the time, like because I either will not see the message because I'm in my focus time doing work. Like right now, I'm taping this podcast. People are messaging me. I'm not gonna pay attention, right? Because I'm focused on here recording the podcast. And so maybe afterward, when I'm done, either by end of the day, I can respond to all those messages, or I can send a response back in a very scheduled way or delay way. So that's acceptable. That means, I'm being intentional to get back to people. That's level 2. Level 3 is and if you can get to level 3, you are at the master level, right? Level 3 is you are ignoring non-priority message without guilt, meaning that you have your day set up, as we mentioned at the beginning of this podcast. You have things that you want to do during the day, and anything else that is coming into that tunnel of emergency thing that you need to tackle, you just ignore them because you're trying to stay focused. Because this is the thing with focus is all about attention and energy. Okay, this is where I want to put my attention, this is what I want to put my energy. So anything else that is like outside of that tunnel of focus and energy is just distraction. And if you wire your head, you wire your subconscious to just focusing on what matter and eliminate distraction, as we teach in the focus to mastery, you are going to just not pay attention to those messages. Even if you see them, you're like, oh, that's not part of my focus right now, without a gate. Now, what I do, I give myself one day a week where I go reply. First of all, sometimes I don't even listen to it. If it's really a vocal message or if it's a written message, I don't even go and engage with it because I'm like, that is not important with the plan of the week that I have. But maybe I'll go back to it, later on. So that's sometimes it's like it's a customer that want to talk about something in 3 months, but I'm not ready to engage with that right now. I don't need to answer that this week. I can come to it next by end of the week to just engage with that conversation and plan them a week out or 2 weeks out when that conversation will be necessary. So ignoring non-priority message without guilt, that's the key word. Because the thing is, people will make you feel guilty, like, oh, when I send you a message you never respond, you always respond to me in 5 days. I just tell them, at least you gotta respond. There's some people that are still has not received a response yet. So you gotta do it without the guilt, because you have to realize this is what is important for me. Now, in that same regard, you may get a communication with something that is important for your week and for your day and for your month. You get to insert that into your plan and insert those. So usually the way that I go with level 3 being things that are not part of my focus and attention and my energy of the week, or even the day. And if it's part of my focus and energy of the week, I might respond by end of the day to just be considerate to that person. And if it's part of my focus and attention of the day, I'll respond immediately, obviously, right? But if it's not as part of my focus of energy of the week, the day of the month, I'm not gonna respond until maybe a week from there, or even 10 days sometime. And that is totally okay, because you don't own your time to no one. Let me repeat that. You don't own your time to no one. So there's a level to also how you communicate and the expectation that people have from you when they communicate with you as well. Now let's move on and start talking about boundary with finance. Haha, that one is it's pretty interesting. So financial boundary are essential for long-term stability, right? You gotta have financial boundary, like how you spend your money, who do you give it to, how quickly do you expect people to just be in your business about money. So here's the approach. I treat my time as the most valuable currency, and that is something that you got to get into a little bit advanced way of setting boundary to be able to think about it that way. What does that mean? You have to, when the moment come and you realize that your time is super valuable, the 1 hour that you spend doing X, Y, and Z. First of all, you got to go back and find out how much you cost per hour. That's an exercise that a lot of people, if you do it, if you start thinking that way, you realize that the quote that said time is money is everything, right? And I used to love that quote without even understanding the value of it. So you have to realize that your time is the most valuable currency. So if I'm gonna spend my time with you to talk to you about whatever, and I'm not getting anything in return, I just waste money, right? If I'm spending time and talking with you, and there's prospect and there's something that I'm gonna get in the future, for me, I feel like it's an investment. So sometimes you see as a coach, you offer free 30 minutes to people. That's really free money that you are offering them. And the reason you offer them free money because you want to give them value, right? Before somebody blindly just sign the check and want to work with you, you want to give them some time. And I'm gonna pause and really quickly share about a recession proof, masterclass that I did the past couple of days here last week, mostly I believe. Yes. So before this, the last episodes were recession proof masterclass, recession proof. We talk about it. Then I went and did a masterclass for literally I want to say 5 hours, right? Because I had the first day, the second day, the third day, and then I had the bonus hour. And before that, I also talk a little bit about DEI. So I spend on average 5 hours just being on camera, for those of you that are watching us from YouTube, being on camera like this, and just giving knowledge to the people, whoever, right? And it was well received. I can go back and crunch all the number actually, but we had over, 1,000 people following us, which is for a platform like us, that's not bad. It's a great start. So we had a lot of eyeballs, listening and viewing our content. But that those were like 5 hours that I, out of my goodness of my heart, just decided to share because these were things that I have experienced. These were things that I had to learn by myself, and these were things that make me a successful person that I am today, as a matter of fact. So I didn't mind just sharing those. But that's an example of me realizing what is my time is value and deciding to do that, right? So once I decide to do that, that's it. For me, if there's anybody that have lost their job and they want to call me and say, "Oh, Lizette, can you help me?" I'll point them to that because instead of me sitting here and trying to help like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people just randomly for no reason, I'll point them to the content that I already created. Some of them are on YouTube, but most of them are on my Facebook or yeah, actually on YouTube. On YouTube, my Facebook and Instagram, and actually LinkedIn. So we have Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube, right? So literally 4 different places that this information has been. And then on top of that, the fifth thing that we give them, we give them a workbook to do it, and we also share it on WhatsApp. So I know that we have 5 places. So enough place for people to see this information, enough place for people to enjoy this free information that I was giving away, but also it's a way for me to have them value, to understand the value of the work that I can provide them, right? So I'm increasing also my value in their eyes. And I'm also opening up, a group for them to come like-minded and work with me, so I can work with them into increasing their value in the marketplace and help them find the next role where they can land quite comfortably. So sometimes this is all you understanding how valuable your time is and how are you willing to give it away. So in this situation, I package my time 5 hours, on camera, and then some documentation to support it, and just give it to the people, and then now expect them to do some work on it. Now the rest is just in their hand, right? So I invest a lot in my personal development to increase my value, right? So even me doing that content was an investment into my personal development because I never talk about recession proof your career on camera. I've even never talked about it anywhere. So me coming and making that module and putting that module available was the best way to actually just do this. So I feel like it's super important for people to tap into those kind of information when they come available. Now, for financial boundary, once you know your value and you know that time is money, and then you define that your time is your most valuable currency. Now, the next thing that you have is to really determine the different financial boundary that you have. So the first level one of boundary is entertaining every request for money and time. Right? So people check you out, they're like, oh, can you give me money? Or people check you out, and can I, use can I pick what is the word that people like to use? Can I pick your ear? Or what is the word? Oh my god, I forgot now. Can I can I use your time? Oh, there's a word that I forgot now. This is not the best time to not remember. But it's a funny one that people like to say, can I use some of your time? Can I pick your ear a little bit? And it's like, no, you cannot. Okay? Unless we are in the same space or same location and we are networking, or I'm at a conference and I just finished and you have opportunity to ask question randomly like that, just picking, checking my ear or checking my time or just using my time, it's not gonna work. Just like it's the same thing, it's literally the same thing when people come and say, can I use your time? It's like they're asking you for free money. And if I have not decided to give you my time for free, you have no right to expect me to give it to you for free. So I don't even entertain that. Quite frankly, this week, I guess because I was giving my time for free on camera for the recession proof your career masterclass. Somebody slide into my DM, encourage and say how successful they thought this was as a program, and then the next thing went about and asked me for money. And for me, I was not shocked. And the cool thing that the person just asked was, is it possible? If it's not possible, say no. And I automatically say, no, that's not possible. And without a flinch. Because for me, my level of boundary is actually higher than level 3, actually. So that's level 1. Anybody come to you, they request for your money and your time, and you entertain it. Entertaining doesn't mean you give it, but you let it moan and say, oh, what can I do? How can I help them? It's a no. And no is a complete sentence. You don't even need to explain yourself. When I say no to this person, I didn't even need to explain and say, oh my God, myself, I'm not doing. No, 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 no. I don't need to say all that. No is a no. Even if I had a plenty, or even if I didn't, it's none of your business either way, right? Level 2 is ignoring requests without explanation, right? So now level 2 is when people make a request to you, you can just ignore it. You just ignore it and say, I'm not gonna do it. Level 2 is also saying no sometime without explanation, but the ignoration is the most important one, because when you ignore, they don't know if you have seen it. That's the key. And number 2, they don't know your response, right? So now they're gonna think about it the next time, because they don't know if this is the right network that you use to come to you. So they're gonna think a little bit harder. So level 2 is my go-to. Just ignore it and don't even engage. That's number 2. Level 2 is great. If you can be at level 2 most of the time, that's gonna be good for your mental health. Just ignoring it. And me, for the longest time, I have been at longer. I've never been at level 1. I've minimally have been at level 2 at least. Okay. Now level 3 is redirecting requests into opportunity. Right? I'm the master of level 3. If I don't ignore you, that means if I'm gonna engage, it's gonna be because I want to redirect you to an opportunity instead of giving you money, or either offering you a job or a resource. That I'm great at, because that's part of my normal the way that I act. I'm a connector. I like to help people connect and build relation and partner with people. So if I know what you need, because you came to me and asked me, if I know what you need, I can quickly just connect you with somebody else that can get you to the next level. that I know of, right? So, and that should be where, if everybody is just being that, it's because level three is also teaching you how to fish. Level three is not just responding to your request, but it's actually teaching you how to fish, and it's also teaching you how to behave in the world. Because if you help somebody, right, like I help you, naturally next time when somebody come to you, you're gonna help them. Now we are building a larger net of a network, of how we are supporting each other. And I think that is actually the best way. Like a woman come to you and she's a single mother, nothing wrong with single mother, but she's single and she just lost her job, all this very hard thing, and she asks me for help, right? Most likely I'm not gonna give her money. What I'm gonna give her is ask her, because people don't realize that your time and your money is the same. But if I give you money, I'm just giving you a bandit. But if I actually give you my time or my energy, it might catapult you into a level, because the money is just going to solve for this month, right? That is the problem. But the time and energy and the network that I'm going to give you might put you to the next level, right? So reiterate. So if she asks me for money, what I'm gonna do is say, okay, so what did you study, right? Give me your resume. Let me help you make sure your resume is top notch, and let me help you. I can even spend 1 or 2 sessions with you, teaching you how to pitch your resume so you can get the best interview. And then once you get an interview, I will help you do a mock interview so you can be ready. Those are the two things that I can just offer you, and that's not gonna cost me more than 2 hours. We can do this is actually in 2 hours, between me reviewing your resume, me getting on the call and perfecting your pitch, and then me getting on the call and doing a a a mock interview with you. This is not more than 2 hours. So I'm actually giving you a valuable time. If I gave you that money, whatever that money is, I gave it into your hand, you're just going to pay your electricity bill, and it's not going to help you with any problem. It's not going to move you forward. So that's how you have to see it. It's not that you are being stingy or you are not generous. Some of us are actually more generous with our time than actually giving people just money. Because when you give people money, you are actually telling them to continue to stay lazy. You are actually telling them to not learn how to fish. And by showing them this is how you're supposed to care for your next human being. So the example of the lady that I gave you, if I do all that for her or with her, she's gonna quickly learn to become that kind of leader in the world. So next time when she goes to that level and she's a leader and another woman knock at her door, she will know exactly what to do. Because usually what happens is women don't help other women because they're like, oh, one woman hurt me. I had a manager that was not nice to me and she really hurt me throughout my career, so I no longer want to help other women. We don't want that. We actually want women to help each other. So level 3, redirecting your request into an opportunity, and offering them a job or a resource, or all of that, instead of actually giving them money, is the most powerful way, because it has some repercussion value. Okay, now let's get to spirituality. And this I'm talking about this in my book, Up Your Confidence, right? And there's a couple of chapter on this, because this is going to be a game changer if you really create some boundary around your spirituality, and people violate this. For some reason, spirituality boundary is the most violated out of everything, and I don't understand why it's the most violated, but it is, sadly. So, spiritual growth should be personal, not dictated by fear or external pressure. Here's how I maintain my spiritual boundary. I avoid a unsolicited spiritual advice or fear based narrative. So, how, and I gave an example the other day in a quick video shot that I was doing that, and people that just come to you if you are a woman, and they want to pray for you. They just want to pray for you. Like they just met you 2 hours ago and now they're going to pray for you. No, I'm good. Thank you very much. just pray for me over there. You don't need to come close to me, hold my hand and all that. It's not genuine. If you don't know somebody and they don't know anything about you, people that just want to tell you that, oh, the spirit told me, nah, 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 nah. Tell the spirit to tell me so that I can hear it directly, because you just met me and I bet the spirit don't know nothing about me to you. Okay? So avoid unsolicited spiritual advice or fear-based narrative. The key word is fear-based narrative, because they want to stoke fear in you about a situation. Those are the worst people, when they know that you are you are in a weak mind state. You are going through something. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you are going through divorce. Maybe you are going through financial hardship. Maybe your business are not going well. Maybe you just lost a family member, right? Like things that you go through in life, and we go through them a lot. And when we are showing up that these things are like crushing us, some people are actually gonna use that as a narrative to know, to cross the spiritual boundary. And I talked about something the other day in the recession proof about that. I hate this open banner on LinkedIn, right? The reason why I hate those open banner on LinkedIn is I always say I don't want to look like my problem. And that just clearly, it's a way to show the world that yes, I'm out of job and I'm depressed and no, 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 no. I never want to look like my problem. I want my problem to be there and I'm looking good here, because I am not my problem. I am beautiful. I'm confident. I have my affirmation that I do every morning. That's me here. And the problem is over there, and I'm dealing with it, I'm trying to solve it. But I am not the problem. And when you detach your identity from everything that's happening, you still gonna remain the joyful, the blessed human being that you are. And the problem is just seasonal. The problem are not gonna take over your life. They're not gonna take over your mind. They're not gonna take over your mental health. They are just gonna swim across your face and keep on going. And people like to prey on people that are going through stuff. And that's where spirituality become wicked, because they want to prey on you for the situation that you're going through, while you are already going through something bad. Okay? I used to listen. So level 1 is you listen and you consider the negative message. Literally. I have a very vivid story that I had, a couple of days before I got married. Somebody called me and told me, I don't think this is a good idea. Oh, I don't think, all the stars are aligned for you to do this. And in that moment, I remember just not even considering it. In that moment, I shut it down. So my spirituality level was already at number 3, and we're going to talk about number 3. It was between I listen but I disregard. So level 1 is I used to listen and consider negative message. So people tell you stuff and you just get into your nervous system. You let it just perpetuate into your nervous system, and and that could be anything. But spiritual message will conquer your brain. Like, let's say you go to a church and they start talking about how a family member is chasing you, like all your success has been hung in somebody's hand. Somebody's doing witchcraft on you. That's the reason why all your things are not successful. The moment you listen to it and you consider it, that's going to become your reality, because now your whole life is being overshadowed by this really negative moment that they're sharing with you. Okay? I listen, but I disregard them. So that's the example that I gave you about the person that called me and told me that, oh, they don't think this is a good idea, but I should pray about it, yada, yada, or we should pray about it, yada, yada. In that moment, I listened and I disregarded, because I was like, I'm not even gonna believe it, let alone let it perpetuate into my system. So pay attention to those. And level 3 is now I stop this conversation immediately to protect my mindset and my peace again. You're going to see that there's a pattern here. We should even call this Protecting Your Peace podcast, right? But no, or we should call it Protecting Your Peace episode. But it's really what it is, because when you build your boundary and your boundary is really set up and is high, you are protecting your peace. So stop this conversation quickly. Otherwise, it's going to perpetuate into other area of your life. So spiritual boundary need to be cut quickly. Setting boundary is not about shutting people out. No, it's about letting the right things in. Boundary allow you to grow, protect your peace, and achieve success on your own term. I encourage you to reflect on your boundary. Where do you need to be firmer? Where can you improve? Start with one change this week and see how it impacts your life going forward. I'd love to hear your experience with setting boundary. Share them with us on social media or in the comment or wherever you're listening. Try one boundary setting technique this week and see how it transforms your energy and confidence, because we talk about several of them. Don't forget to subscribe and like and share for more personal development insight. As always, we are bringing you the meaningful, engaging, and candid conversation that will ignite a strong desire and determination in women so that we can achieve a great milestone both in our personal and professional life. I will stay true to my mission of empowering and encouraging women to becoming confident and to actively pursue leadership roles in workspace, home, and everyday life. I'm a firm believer that there's absolutely no limit to what women can achieve when it comes to their dreams and goals. I sincerely hope that all our female listeners will take away valuable life skill lesson and encouragement that they need to grow their confidence and unlock their highest potential. We hope this podcast has encouraged you on how to be assertive by effectively utilizing your voice to speak up, speak out, and make yourself heard. Thank you and see you next time. Thank you for joining today, the Up Your Confidence podcast. See you next time. Like and share this with other women that you want to celebrate in this International Women Day month, international month that we are in. Okay? Bye.
Z-Square Adventure, it's a cultural and adventurous experience. The journey is not about seeing new place, it's about immersing cultural experience. You will engage with local community, understand the tradition, and perhaps discover a new perspective in life. It's healing through connection. For many African American coming, it's like a spiritual journey that allow you to connect with your ancestors' strength and resilience. It's educating and empowering future generation. It's a self discovering journey. It's engaging with local community. It's empowering and inspirational. Join Zisco Adventure. It's a melting pot of culture. Join us this year for our Explore West Africa package. Thank you. It's more than just a tourist. It's visiting statue. It's visiting tourist activity. It's an experience that you will never forget. Thank you. Join us today. If you know anything about me, y'all know I hate taking vitamin. I hate taking med until I stumble on black girl vitamin. Since I have been diagnosed with heavy vitamin D deficiency, which is most of y'all listening and watching this podcast, I have been taking vitamin B pill for the last 3 months. And I've been on the vitamin D for this time and I'm obsessed. This is the brand. This brand is real. It's cruelty free. It's packed with quality ingredient from the iron and collagen to the cholesterol support. I found my go-to vitamin brand. If you want to level up your wellness scheme, use my code Z Square for a sweet discount on your order. Trust me, you won't regret it.
Black Girl Vitamin is a brand especially designed for Black women, recognizing the unique nutritional need that we are often overlooked by mainstream products. The supplement are cruelty-free and focus on essential vitamins that support growth, mood, and overall well-being. With options like vitamin D, iron, collagen, and even cholesterol support, the products are tailored to help women feel their best. And yes, I've been feeling great. If you are like me and you hate taking medication but you want to boost your health, Black Girl Vitamin made it easy with high quality, tasty vitamin supplement that fit right into your routine. I've been taking them for the last 3 to 4 months and I am a big fan. I'm telling everybody about it. From iron to collagen, this brand has you covered. So use my code Z Square when you order to join the journey to feel amazing. You won't regret it. Why don't you want a glowing skin, and healthy hair like me to kick off this year? That's the ultimate gift and beauty. And on this podcast, we always say health is wealth. We talk about investing in yourself. So vitamin D deficiency is how you invest in yourself. The buzz is real. The review are lighting up my phone. Don't wait. Start creating your healthy habit in 2025. The ultimate vitamin bundle. Take control of your health. Feel unstoppable and glow from within. On this podcast, we always talk about boosting your confidence, elevating your confidence. This is the number one way you can elevate your confidence by glowing from the outside and also the inside. So get your bundle today. Get with Black Girl Vitamin. Thank you.